We learn about the launch of a 10-month parking study, and we chat with Police Chief Paul McDonald on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Tuesday, May 17th, 2016. I'm Sarah Mantle. Town officials are looking for ways to increase parking in downtown Hyannis. The Growth Management Department hosted an open house to discuss issues surrounding parking challenges last night. It's the first part of a 10-month parking study. Project manager Tom Yardley talked about the process.
Parking matters a lot for a lot of different reasons, and for different people it means different things, but these are some of the reasons why it's so important, and some of you have seen this slide already, but it's key to an economic vitality. It's important for local businesses, development potential, the overall pedestrian environment, traffic patterns. There's a one-way pair in street that has a huge impact on how people travel to downtown. Crossing South Street can be like running the gamut. And also signage and wayfinding. That's certainly something we've heard from folks walking through town. They wish there were a few more blue signs telling people where public parking were, so it was easier to find those sorts of things. The town has obviously been testing out some new pilot strategies, and parking's often in the news. It's on people's minds. It's an important aspect. This is a hard timeline to read, but basically the important things you need to know is that we're in the middle of data gathering right now. What does that mean? That means we've been out actually conducting a full inventory of parking spaces within the study area, which is mostly within the downtown area. It extends out to the harbor, to the hospital, and the full length of Main Street. And so we're counting all those spaces, understanding what the existing regulations are, and then we're also going to go out during peak times when the weather cooperates and do a utilization count, so we actually understand how many people are using these parking spaces at key times during the day, typically 10 a.m., midday, and then the afternoon. And then we'll come back again in July during peak season, during those three peak months. We'll come back during one particular pre-agreed day when the weather's good and you've got a sort of typical tourism and busyness, and count the number of people parked in the spaces again during those time periods. And again, so the goal is so we have a good data-driven idea of what's actually happening. We can hear anecdotally and we can see what's happening, but sometimes we don't really know until we actually look at the data. So that's a key part of what we're going to do. And we'll come back in the fall, and that's when we'll be testing some preliminary concepts and ideas with you all, and we can really have a discussion about some of the ideas that we've come up. Our goal is to hear from you, try to put some of those ideas, marry them with the experience that we've had in other similar settings, and then come back to you with some different options and strategies.
And you can weigh in by taking the survey. Just visit town.barnstable.ma.us/Hyannis Parking. Barnstable was busy over the weekend with a road race and cycling event. To find out how the weekend went, Channel 18's Sarah Colvin talked with Police Chief Paul McDonald.
So, Chief, starting off with it was a big weekend for athletic activities here in town. The Tour de Barnstable yesterday, Sunday, and I know Ragnar Relay came through Barnstable on Friday night. So, tell me a little bit about police department involvement with those two athletic events.
This was a very busy weekend for us. We know the unofficial start of summertime is Memorial Day weekend, but this certainly felt like the beginning of summer for us this past weekend because we're extremely busy. The weather was great, particularly on Saturday, and there were a number of events that took place over the weekend. And the first one was the Ragnar Relay, which starts up in Miles Standish up in Plymouth, and it's a road race all the way down to P-Town. And when they come into Barnstable, they stop off at Lowell Park, they stay there, and then they start running early in the morning. And actually, I live on Shoeflang Hill Road. They go right by my house at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And that's all manpower intensive to get them into town. They stay overnight, and then they leave early to get to P-Town sometime during the day on Saturday. And then, of course, we had Tour de Barnstable, this is a second annual event. and that was on Sunday. I believe last year they had about 237 bicyclists going through the town. This year the number exploded. I believe it was up to 350 or 400 people. And again, that's manpower intensive because it starts in Hyannis and it goes through all 7 villages. That particular road race, because it covers so many miles, we use a motorcycle patrol. We have 7 motorcycles. Then we requested the aid of the Cape Cod Regional Motorcycle Unit. So we had 15 motorcycles out there that did the traffic detail to get everybody through all 7 villages and get them all through there safely. At the same time that's going on, we had the Special Olympics going on Saturday, and I took a detail of officers to take care of that. And then Saturday night we had the big event at the at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center, the mixed martial arts. There was a couple of good fights at the Hyannis event, and that was jam-packed. That was standing room only. So it was a very, very busy weekend for us, and not to mention, we covered over 1,000 calls for service. So it was a very, very busy weekend for us.
Definitely gearing up for the summer season, Chief, and certainly with the amount of traffic on the road. And I have to say, it really seemed like everything went off without a hitch, which is great considering all of the activity that was going on over this weekend.
Yep, there were no problems whatsoever. There were no accidents. Nobody hit. The limitations on the traffic was minimal, so it worked out very well. We had no complaints from the public. And sometimes we have so many events in Barnstable, particularly the large road races where we have to shut down roads. That becomes problematic, and we do receive X number of complaints. But this particular weekend, everything went off well, and everybody just listened. Everybody pays attention. They all play by the same rules. Everybody will get there, and it all worked out very, very well. And people really seem to enjoy themselves.
Absolutely. And as a participant in a couple of those events, I have to say that, yes, we did enjoy ourselves tremendously. Chief,
did you ride the whole 35 miles?
I did ride the whole 35 miles.
Good for you.
It was a great day.
That's a long bike ride.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. A little windy out there, but it was a good day for a ride.
Good for you.
Chief, you mentioned, too, a search warrant. Tell me a little bit about this incident.
This is our ongoing efforts. Again, this is just a follow-up from the April 5th when we did the raid and we took everybody down. Our radar is up, and we're looking for anybody who's trying to set up shop, trying to come back into town and try to backfill, the individuals that we arrested. Most of them are still being held. So we are very concerned about somebody backfill and trying to take up their business. So we executed a search warrant at Cape Crossroads Condominium back on May 12th. We arrested 2 individuals, Terrence Cardova and Don Kendrick. The investigations that we had went on for approximately 30 days before we actually were able to get the search warrant. They were both charged with distribution in Class A, which is heroin, and Class B, which is the Suboxone or cocaine. So again, we're just trying to stay on top of the trade that's going on downtown Hyannis.
Have we seen a little bit of a slowdown since that large drug bust a couple months ago?
We've seen a dramatic slowdown. We still have had a couple of overdoses over the past 30 days, but not as many as we've had in the past. The number of overdoses from this year to last year are down considerably. However, the number of fatal overdoses are run the exact same. We've already had, it's a shame to say it, but we've already had 7 fatal overdoses this year, which is unacceptable.
Absolutely. Chief, again, as we're gearing up for the summer season, I know as you said, we're adding motorcycle patrols. We're adding some folks on Main Street. What else is underway to prepare as we wait for the population to get a little crazier in the summer months?
Well, we're ready for it. Unfortunately, the department is down a little bit, because we have 9 officers in the academy right now. They won't be out of the academy until sometime in September. So everybody's just going to have to step up to the plate, and there's going to be a lot of work for everybody, for the next 3 or 4 months. We will be out straight.
Absolutely. And Chief, again, aside from that search warrant, any major incidents that occurred over the past week?
Well, like I said, we handled almost 1,000 calls from Thursday night to Sunday night at midnight. Most of them were service calls, dealing with domestics, motor vehicle accidents, alarms. Of course, we had the bar rooms. Main Street was extremely busy both Friday and Saturday nights, but everything went relatively well. And 1,000 calls, it sounds like a lot in 3 or 4 days, but we are geared up to handle that many calls.
And you can hear from Chief McDonald every Tuesday morning during our 1-hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning. That program airs weekdays at 8 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll chat with Register of Deeds Jack Mead. We'll talk with Finance Director Mark Milne. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.